Hi everyone, this is Paul Fisher, and today we'll be looking at installing Salesforce Lightning for Gmail, as well as Lightning Sync for GSuite. We'll be looking at this in the context of the Salesforce Summer 17 release. So our agenda for today is going to be to first start with installing Salesforce Lightning for Gmail, and then switching over and having a look at the new features in Lightning Sync for GSuite. So the first thing to do to install Salesforce Lightning for Gmail is to navigate to the Chrome store and add that extension to your Chrome browser. So I've already navigated to the extension link here, and I'm simply going to click the Add to Chrome blue button. Then click Add Extension, and that extension is now added to Chrome. You can see here, if we go into our Chrome settings under Extensions, we can see that the Salesforce Lightning for Gmail has been installed and it's enabled. There's also an option in here as well where you would like to point the plugin, whether it's a production or a sales sandbox environment. Today we'll be operating out of a Summer 17 pre-release org, which I can we'll put a link in the description as to how you can sign up for one of those. So that's going to be a production environment. So we'll leave that as is. So we can close out of the Chrome Web Store now. The next step is going to be to go to your pre-release org and go to the setup menu, and in the setup menu go to Lightning for Gmail and click the settings option. And then our next step there is simply going to be to enable Lightning for Gmail. Once you enable it, you're going to see a host of new options show up on the page as well. Just make sure they're all turned on. It's a little bit of a progress tracker here. The major item that you're going to want to verify is that you have enhanced email turned on. So if you go into our quick find here in the upper left, you can just type enhanced email, and let's make sure that's on. So the button says disable, meaning it's already enabled for our account. If you see something that says enable there, go ahead and click that and make sure enhanced email is enabled. Okay, so that's what we need to do from the Salesforce side of things. So now we can go to our Google account here, and I'm going to just simply refresh this page so that we can load that new extension that we just installed. Okay, great. So you can see here in the right hand, the right side of the screen, that we have the Salesforce extension. It's collapsible. We also have some actions here that you can quickly create new types of records inside of Salesforce.com. By default, it comes with these top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items, and then I actually added a new account one as well. So you can quickly create new records here inside of Salesforce. Okay, so I'm not going to go too deep into that feature, but it's very, very convenient to allow you to create new items. But one of the major things here is the ability to be able to log responses as well as new messages that you're sending to people. So I'm going to go ahead and compose a new message to a contact. Let's see who I should. Let's see who I have in here. Looks like we have Tim Barr. Okay, so I'll compose a message to Tim. And it's pulling in from my Google contacts because I'm using Lightning Sync, which we'll look at a little bit later, to sync my contacts from Salesforce to Google and to Google from Google to Salesforce. Okay, so now I'm just going to say test message and body of test message. Okay, from Paul. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click send here. So I've sent the message. If I view the message, One thing you'll notice is that Tim bar pulls up in the side panel, and the next step you'll want to take is to click this little upload icon right here in the people component in this page, and that's going to allow you to relate the message you just sent to Tim Barr's contact record. You also notice we got two notifications. One, that the email was related, and secondly, that the label was added to the email that was sent. So if we have a new section here in our Gmail labels, it's called Related to Salesforce. So if we click on Related to Salesforce, we will see that that message is within that label, categorized with that label. Okay, great. So now if we actually go ahead and bring up Tim's record and go to the activity section, we can see in the past activity section that we have sent him an email. Okay, good stuff. So that's the first thing. That was an outbound message to a contact. The next thing we will do is send an inbound message. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to send an email from my phone here. Let me go back to my inbox, and I'll expand this and get out of Tim's record. Okay, so I just received my incoming email. So let me go ahead and open it. Okay, so it's not recognizing the email address from which this was sent. So let me go ahead now and create Paul Fisher as instead of a user, let's create him as a contact. So click Add to Contact as Contact. I'm going to go ahead and fill out my first and last name, Mr. Put in a phone number. We can search accounts here as well. So let's see what we can come up with. We can actually create a new account as well. So looks like it found Acme, so that's fine. And let's say Paul is a marketing director. Okay, so that's fine. We'll go ahead and create that contact and click Save. The contact was created inside of Salesforce. We have our accounts there, as well as any opportunities that are related to that account. So the next thing we'll want to do is to log this inbound email against Paul Fisher's contact. So to do that, we can go ahead and click this little upload button in the people. It's in the people component here. So let's go ahead and do that. Email related, label added. Perfect. So if we go here, you can see that it's just this related to Salesforce area. That message, that incoming message, also got tagged with the related to Salesforce label, which is great. So let's go ahead and look at that from this directly inside of Salesforce. But before we do that, let's click into Paul's record here. And this is actually my user record. So let me go back. Let's go to the marketing director contact record. Just one note here, there's a people component in Lightning for Gmail. It's going to include really any type of person, Salesforce per people. So that could be a lead, contact, user record, anything like that. Okay, so let me go over here to the contact record with our marketing director at Acme. Go to Activity, and there's our test email right there. Now within this panel, we're going to be able to see the to address, the from address. We'll see the subject and the message content, as well as the body of the email here as well. So very convenient. You don't even have to open up the record in Gmail if we don't want to. Okay, so now let's go over to this contact record inside of, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Let me go back. I meant to click this one. Okay. Okay, so here's our contact that we just created from the Gmail side panel. We have the phone number, the email address that it was created. And if we scroll down here, we can see the activity history. We can click into that and see the message content, the to and from, the date, the sender, and the recipient as well. So you can see the user was related, as well as the, in this case, the user was the recipient, and we also have the contact. Okay. Great. So that was sending a new email and relating it to a contact in Salesforce. Let's take that example. So we sent one, but then we also received an incoming email. Let's take this one step further, and let's actually respond to that inbound email and log it inside of Salesforce.com. So here, I'm simply going to reply. Let's open this up as well. Okay. Test reply to an inbound email. Send. Okay, so I click send. Right as I did that, the side panel refreshed. And now I can log this email directly against the Paul Fisher Marketing Director's contact record. Oops, yeah, I chose the right one. So it logged it again, both against the user and the contact. So if I click into that, and then actually I already have it open here, and just refresh it. And let us give that a second. It doesn't look like that. Didn't look like that email logged successfully. Let me go back here. So let's see. Email removed. So let me try that again. So it's important that I kind of have the right one open here. Email related. Let's try this. Let's go ahead and look at this content. So that was the original incoming one. Doesn't look like that other one logged, and I've seen a few issues with this. So really, the best thing to do when you're logging a response, I've seen, if you're not creating a new thread, is to actually go ahead and go to your sent folder, then come in here, and you want to make sure this one is minimized, this one is maximized, and let's try this again. Let's remove and log. Okay. So now we'll go back here. Okay, we seem to have having a little bit of issues with Salesforce logging the email, with the response, that is. So that's okay. We can try to relate it to a few other items. So we'll try to relate it to an account. Typically, an email can be related to at least one type of person record, be it a lead, contact, and then also a either like an account, an opportunity, or a case, just one of an opportunity, account, or case. Okay, so it didn't look like that. It didn't like the response log, so we'll have to follow up with Salesforce on that one. We can go to the account as well. So we can see here at least that the response log to the account, which is good, related to acne sample, status red, just doesn't look like it was able to attach to the contact for whatever reason. Okay, so we've logged both an inbound and an a response, as well as a initial outbound email. All right, so moving on, I'd like to talk about some of the new changes for Lightning Sync for GSuite. So in the past, it was only really possible to to sync contacts from Salesforce to Google Contacts, but now in this release, it's possible to create a contact inside of Google and then have it sync over to Salesforce. In addition, if you make any updates to existing contacts that are set up to sync with Salesforce, any changes you make inside of Google Contacts will be reflected back in Salesforce, and of course vice versa. But this was already the case prior to summer 17. Okay, so let me go ahead now and create a new contact inside of Salesforce. So I'm just going to say use a dummy email address. So I'll just say tim.burton101@mailtothis.com, and I'll go ahead and click add. In addition, let me add his name and a mobile phone. Great. So all those changes were saved. You'll notice that it was tagged with the Salesforce sync group. If you create a contact while having this group highlighted, it's going to automatically apply that group and create that contact over in Salesforce. However, if you're just in your My Contacts area and create it, so let's say I'll do another one, Jimmy Butler, and let me type his email, jimmy.butler@bowles.com, add his name. We'll just leave it with his email there. You'll notice this one does not have that group applied, and Jimmy will not be syncing over to Salesforce, only Tim will be. Okay, so let me go ahead now and move over to Salesforce and search for Tim Burton. So there he is. He was created as a contact just literally this minute. We have his mobile phone in there. And one thing you'll notice about the phone numbers that get created via this Lightning Sync integration is they're not really properly formatted, and that's because they're being created via the API. So if you just click in there, and then you don't need to change it, it'll just reformat it for you. I think it's also going to require me to put an account here, so I'll just do Acme. So I'll go ahead and save that. There we go. Okay, so Tim is in inside of Salesforce now. Let's say we want to change something about Tim on the Gmail side. Let's say that his email is actually timburton102, and let's say his phone number actually happens to end in 7777. So we've made 2 changes here to Tim Burton, and in a few minutes they should sync over. Now there is a section inside of Salesforce if someone were to happen to make a change to Tim Burton in Salesforce exactly at the time that I was making a change in Google, we have some conflict behavior that we set up in terms of how to handle those in the sync configuration, which I'll show in a few minutes here. Okay, so we'll wait a little bit longer, and then we'll go ahead and refresh this browser window to get an updated mobile number as well as email for Tim Burton. And there we have it. So his email is ending in 102, and his mobile is ending in 47s. Perfect. And then just to show that this integration does work 2 ways, let's go ahead and just do a mobile phone update here. as well. And let's let Salesforce sync that back over. So while that does its thing, let's have a look at the Lightning Sync configuration. As I mentioned, the two-way contact sync from Google to Salesforce is a new item in summer 17, which is very exciting. Okay, so here's my sync configuration. Let me click Edit. And in terms of contacts now, we have the option for syncing both ways, which is great. Before, we only saw the Salesforce to Google option. So now we have Google to Salesforce if you just want to sync one way, which I don't really, I don't, and then you can also do Salesforce to Google. At a minimum, I would recommend Salesforce to Google or even both ways. And the reason for that is it's really nice to have your Salesforce contacts inside of your Google account, so that when you're here composing your email, you can just go ahead and type the person's name and just immediately go into an email here. Really, if you're not syncing your Salesforce contacts over, then you may have to go into the side panel here, click this. You maybe can copy this email and then paste it. But for me, it's much faster if I can just go Tim Burton, boom, like that. So I definitely recommend bringing at least the contacts that you're the owner of into your Gmail contacts. They're nicely segmented here. So with the Salesforce sync group, so it keeps them separate from any personal or other contacts that you may have. You can keep your personal ones. If you do opt for both ways as well, to sync both ways, you can opt to keep your personal contacts not syncing to Salesforce. Just to ensure that they don't have this Salesforce sync group applied, and you should be okay. All right, so we have the sync both ways option, which is what we're going to stick with. And then we have this conflict behavior here as well. So in this case, the default was Google always wins. There's also Salesforce always wins. And then you also have the option, if a Google contact matches multiple Salesforce contacts, which contact do you want to sync it with? So that could be one having the most recent activity, meaning a task or event related to it, or was simply that record was last edited, the contact record itself, that is, or has the oldest creation date. So you have a few different options there. I chose last updated. And then of course we have the events. Nothing really new with events here, folks, in terms of the sync direction. So it's still Google to Salesforce. There is a new setting, however, where we can specify which exchange events. This is a little bit mislabeled here. It's actually, we have Google, so it's which Google events sync to Salesforce. So we could have all events, which was available in the last release, or we can have the events the user selects. And that's going to be done via the Lightning for Gmail side panel. So we'll look at that in a minute. So again, the user will select which they can manually select with that side panel. Of course, the other option is the all. If you do the all, make sure that you have you have this unchecked, the sync private events unchecked. That way you can at least limit some of the events that sync over by marking them as private. Okay, so this pretty much all stays the same. So I'll show you that new this new setting on the calendar side of things. But before we do that, I just don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. So let's actually go back here and let me give a refresh to our Google contacts and see if those changes we made in Salesforce for Tim came through properly. And let's pull up his contact record. Okay, so it doesn't look like the phone number has updated yet. So we'll give that a little bit longer here. And let me verify our sync settings as well. Okay. Events, that's fine. Contacts, sync both ways. Conflict. So it actually looks like we have Google always wins here, but let's just leave that for now. We can track the sync status here as well if we want to have a look in terms of any updates. That looks like we have a let's see. Google to Salesforce is in sync. So we'll let the contacts, it looks like something's going on, so we'll let that finish up. Okay, so let's then, while waiting for that, go ahead and proceed to the new GCal event sync option we have, which leverages the Lightning for Gmail side panel. Calendar. Okay, so I have calendar here, and should have this sidebar loading, but let me go ahead. So it looks like I have an event there. Let me go ahead and create a new one. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Create. Let me open that up. Okay. So breakfast at Tiffany's, I'm going to invite Tim. So I'm going to invite Tim there. It's nice because he's already in my Gmail contacts with Lightning Sync. So I just add him right there. He's going to get the Google notification immediately. And then I'm also going to want to make sure, I'm not syncing all of my events, but I do want to sync this event to Salesforce. So what I'll do here is go ahead and click this upload arrow in the right-hand pane. So event was related. Perfect. So that's going to end up in Salesforce. Let me click save. Fine, we can invite Tim. Okay, I actually chose don't send just because it's a test email. So Tim would have got the Google invite, the calendar invite, and we've created now an event inside of Salesforce.com for Tim. So let's go ahead and click into him and go to activity. We can see in the activity history, we have a future event. We are having breakfast at Tiffany's. Okay. And if we go ahead now and open Tim directly inside of Salesforce as a contact, we can see we have an open activity, breakfast at Tiffany's at 5. Perfect. And the important thing here is that it's related to his contact. So you can see him, it's related to his contact record there. I'm the assignee. I was the one that created it. Great. Okay, so that's the new event feature. If you're not utilizing that feature, if you do not want an event to sync, you have to mark it as private. Ensure you have this correct sync settings set up. If you don't mark it as private and have all events syncing, then it's going to sync over to Salesforce. So you either need to make sure you have it marked as private if you don't want it to sync and you're syncing all events, or you simply turn on the user chooses which events to sync. You use the Lightning for Gmail side panel here, and you can click the upload button and push that event seamlessly over. Okay, so let's go back here now to Tim and see what's going on with his record. So we have that 312 mobile phone that I updated. Refresh. So for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like that is updating his mobile phone. So something to be aware of and to follow up for this video is just to, it doesn't look like this phone number is updating. It may actually be because I have Salesforce winning with the conflict behavior in the sync setup, sync configuration rather. Let's see what happens if I do this. Salesforce always wins, save, and let's do a 312 ending in 8888, save. So I've updated that on the Salesforce side now, and we'll give that a little bit of time. So while we're waiting for that to load, we can look at this Lightning for Gmail panel in a little bit more detail. So we have Chatter here. We can share an update directly inside of Chatter, posts directly to that contact record. You know, we can like things, comment things, pretty much all the normal things you can do inside of Chatter. You know, you can attach things. I don't know if you can do a poll or not. I don't think you can do a poll. But you know, you can have all your rich text formatting, pictures, all that good stuff. Then we have our activity, so that has the events, emails, tasks. Basically, this is activities, you know, open and closed activities. And then we have the related to list. So we have opportunities here. Here we don't have anything attached. If we wanted, we can create a new opportunity. So we created a new opportunity here. Should probably call that test opportunity instead of test email. Opportunity. Let's go ahead and relate that to Acme. Save. Oops, I must be doing something wrong. We'll try to save that. It's yelling at me for whatever reason. But one of the really nice things I think you can do here is what's the change owner. You can change the owner of opportunities in here, or really any contact, anything for that matter. You know, you can click in here, go directly into the opportunity. A lot of this seems to be view only, so it doesn't look like I can add a contact role, for example, in here. But you know, you have all your standard opportunity fields here as well. Okay, so let's see if Tim Burton has updated. It actually looks like he has, which is good. He has that 312 ending in 8888. So let me go to Tim, which is over here. Go ahead and refresh that. So he has 312-8888. We have him updating here as well. So it looks like that conflict behavior really dictates if where the updates will work from. So if you have that Google wins, then you'll make your updates in Google and they'll sync down to Salesforce. If you have your updates with Salesforce winning, then you'll make your updates in Salesforce and sync back. I don't think that, let's change this to 3333 and wait a little bit. Doesn't seem that the updates are working from both directions. So we'll give that a minute. And my guess, this is not going to update because we have the updates in Salesforce as the winning conflict behavior. So we'll give that a few minutes. So I mean, from a high level here, we've installed Lightning for Gmail. We saw a little bit of an issue with logging the inbound email against the contact. So we have a follow-up there, but again, if you for some reason cannot log an email in Salesforce for an email you're sending in Gmail, you can always go to that sent mail folder and then click into it and log that email. And then I believe in summer 17 though, we're going to be able to compose and really log the email as we're sending it. So we don't see a button here, but I've noticed maybe as I'm writing the message. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's really have the capability to log it while we're sending it. But I think that may be changing here with summer 17. So I imagine they're going to be releasing a new Chrome extension version, which could have this functionality built in. I know a lot of people have been asking for it. But again, if you don't see that upload button, your best bet is to send your mail, go to your sent folder, open that up, and go ahead and just log it at that point. All right, let me refresh this. Okay, so it looks like it did update finally to 3333. So it looks like the sync is working both ways. I guess for whatever reason we didn't see Google update properly. Maybe we just didn't wait long enough. But it is syncing both ways, and updates are syncing both ways, which is great news. And then if there's ever a conflict where both get changed at the same time, that's where that conflict behavior will come into play in terms of whose updates don't take effect. So in closing, a lot of times people ask me, well, what should my workflow be? How should I use Lightning for Gmail, and Exchange Sync? And again, I would advise that you would absolutely want to have your Salesforce contacts coming into Google Contacts, so that way when you're composing an email, you can do so very easily, and compose that email. You have the sidebar here as well, so you can send your test email. After you click send, you can very easily go to your sent mail here, open the mail, and log it against Edna's contact record very quickly. And there's a lot of other great things and customizations you can do with this tool as well. So hopefully I can bring you another video where we go through much more maybe sales focused for someone using Gmail and Lightning. For Lightning for Gmail here, creating opportunities, logging calls, that sort of thing. But for now, this is just ground level view of logging emails and how that works. But I would definitely recommend bring your Salesforce contacts into Google Contacts, install the Chrome extension so you can log your emails to Salesforce, at least the important ones anyways. And yeah, it's a great power tool. You can even make updates here as well directly to Salesforce. So that from that perspective, it is a great feature. Okay, well that's it for today's video. Thanks everyone so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks.